This episode of the Teen Writing Nook is brought to you by the notebook that you bought because it looked fancy, but you've only written 2 pages in it. The fancy notebook, guaranteed to make you feel like a classic author until you realize typing is faster and your handwriting looks like a doctor's prescription. Season 1, Episode 16. Managing the Idea of Blood. This is the Teen Writing Nook. 14 writers by a teen writer. Creativity, not consistency. Chaos, not perfection. Hi everyone, I'm J.K. Williams, your host, and today is a very special day for me. It is the last weekend before summer vacation starts. I know, it's really big. Also, I wanted to apologize that this episode is a week late. Last weekend I had a bunch of random shit come up and I could not record it, but I am so happy to be back on with all these wonderful listeners. Your brain is a factory that runs 24/7, throwing out brilliant story concepts, incredible character arcs, and world-building ideas. Problem is, the factory doesn't stop. By the time you start Chapter 1 of Project A, your brain is already screaming at you to start Project B. Today on the Nook, we are talking about hyperfixation, idea hoarding, and how to actually commit to a story when your brain wants to write 5 all at once. Let's talk about dopamine. When you get a new story idea, your brain dumps a ton of it. It's fresh, it's perfect, it has 0 plot holes because you haven't actually written it yet. But when you look at your current project, it feels like work. And not the fun kind of work, the boring kind of work. It's a common mistake to make that the loss of novelty equals this story isn't good anymore. But let's be real. It's still good, your brain is just being a dopamine addict. Recognizing that the new idea feels better only because it's new is step 1 to overcoming this problem. How do you stop yourself from abandoning your draft for the shiny new object? You build a parking lot. And I know you're gonna thinking like, what is a parking lot? What are you talking about? I hope it's not a real life parking lot because I have no idea how to build that. Well, it's not. It is basically one Google Doc, specific Google Doc or Notion page or Word document or whatever you use to write whatever software, create one document in that software. This is a, or even if you write in a notebook, use the one, dedicate one notebook to it. This book, document, whatever, is titled and dedicated to future projects only. When a genius idea strikes, don't ignore it, write it down, put the premise, the characters, the dialogue, and dump it all into the parking lot. Tell your brain, I've saved you. You're safe here, but I'm not working on you until this draft is done. It clears your mental RAM so you can actually focus on your current project. Now, this is something that I struggle to do because I'm very bad at building habits, let's be real. I name one person with ADHD or autism, or ADHD actually, that is perfect at building habits. Right, you can't. So I'm constantly trying to build this habit of doing it, but I am getting better. And it has helped a lot whenever I do that. It just gets the pressure off to remember it and allows me to say, it's down, I have it, I can work on it later. Because we know, as with ADHD, an idea working on it later means, oh yeah, we'll forget it before we can actually work on it. So this has helped me a lot. And although I don't do it all the time, when I do it, it helps so much. Sometimes the brilliant idea doesn't actually need to be a whole separate book. And this is my second tip. You can steal elements from your brand new idea, characters, whatever, and make them part of your current project. I'm going to give an example where you can go 2 different routes. Sometimes you can only go 1 route. Sometimes you can go 15. Sometimes you can go 2. My example is 2. My example now is that if you're writing a historical fiction piece, but suddenly you're hyperfixated on a cool magic system, you can then adapt that system into a strange folklore element to your story, or you could actually make it, and this would take some editing, and depending how far you are in, it might be worth it to do the first draft, if not second draft. You can make it a fantasy novel. You can make it a historical fantasy novel, and that's great. Cross-pollination satisfies the urge for something new without making you abandon your hard work. And that is very true and very important because this is what I do more often than not. I do this more often than the parking lot, but they both work well. And sometimes I can't do this and I have to do the parking lot. And sometimes I do both because I want the new idea down, but I also want to incorporate elements of it in my current book, like sort of tease it, test the waters. You know what I'm saying? All right, so my two tips for today were the parking lot idea and the cross-pollination idea. And those are two things that I do very often, and this is not me hyping it up for the podcast. This is something that I actually use. These are tools I actually use. And, I want to be real and say that I will never hype anything up for the podcast because that is wrong. You should not be sponsoring things that you don't actually use. Speaking of sponsors, the second unofficial sponsor for this episode is the Secret Story Society, my little business. The Secret Story Society is a monthly physical snail mail subscription service. It's where my short stories come out once a month via mail, and over the course of the year, from May to April of the next year, you will get the full story. It's $3 a month. It's simple. It's easy to sign up, and I will include the link in the show notes. This year's story is actually takes place in the same world as my Whip, which is a queer romantasy series. It was a trilogy, it now became a series because I split book two in half, so it's four books now. But this year's short story takes place in the same world as my Whip, and it's like fun to, have two projects in the same world because I don't know, it's just fun. Well, thank you so much for listening, and as you know by now, be sure to subscribe to my Substack, subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, sign up for the Secret Story Society, and also if you're wondering about the tools I actually use for my writing, I've compiled all of them into a list on Bendable, where you can see what I use, and there are direct links to those products on my Bendable page. And if you shop through my Bendable page, I earn a small commission, so, be sure to just have a look around, see what you like. Some are more expensive, some are less expensive. It's everything in my studio is on that list. All right? So, thank you for listening, and this has been the Teen Writing Nook. You're in the Nook, so you'll probably be writing. I'm Jacob Williams, signing off. Have a great week. I'll see you in the next one.